In this video, I will be recommending the best places to live in El Paso if you will be PCSing to the Fort Bliss area. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to Sun City Living. If you've never seen any of my videos, my name is Teresa Ramirez and I am a real estate licensed professional with Clearview Realty here in the El Paso area. Today we're talking about PCSing to Fort Bliss and different parts of town that you can look at potentially for your next home. This subject is near and dear to my heart since most of you know I am an Air Force wife and we have had the privilege of PCSing cross country 4 times. I know how stressful it is. I know how hard it is to get to a city and not know your way around or not know where the best places to live is. So my goal here is to help you guys as you begin your search for your new home. And I hope that you find it helpful. I just want to cover 2 quick things before we move on. First off, if you don't already know, Fort Bliss is a huge base. So when I'm talking about commute times to and from, depending on where you're coming from in the city, please know that they are approximate times. It's going to depend on where you're working on in the base. So my advice to you would be to Google Map, whatever address to Fort Bliss, if you can get an exact address of where exactly you'll be working. The other thing I want to talk about is for this video and for budgeting purposes, I'll be looking at a BAH of an E6. So that means I'll be looking at about $1,450 to $1,490 per month, which equals to about $189,000. So for this video, I'll be looking at houses, showing you samples in the different areas of your affordability. The first area of town that I want to recommend is going to be the closest that you can get to Fort Bliss without actually living on post. This area is called the Northeast. In the Northeast, you're looking at commute times of about 5 to 15 minutes, just depending on where you live. In this area, you can find plenty of resales as well as some new construction. Let me show you. Give you an idea of where the Northeast is located. So I just pulled up my Google Earth, and here is Fort Bliss, right next to the airport, as you can see. The Northeast would be this area right here, right behind Fort Bliss. So again, commute times of about 5 minutes to 15 minutes, just depending on how far out you live. To give you an example, this is a house that is located in the Northeast area. So you can see that Fort Bliss is right here. This house is located in the Northeast right behind it. And this house is listed at $189 with 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,846 square feet. This area is actually really nice. And you can take a look at a couple of pictures here. Very nice home. The subdivision in this one would be Sandstone Ranch Estates, which is a very popular area for military here in our city. These would be, I believe, El Paso Independent School District schools. So yeah, this is an example of what you could look at, if and when you decided that you wanted to consider the Northeast as an option. Of course, there are houses that are in the lower price point. There is also new construction within this area. It's really just about finding a realtor that is knowledgeable and will be able to give you the information that you need, be it on resale as well as new construction. Another area that you may want to explore when PCSing to Fort Bliss would be the west side of town. Just over the mountain from Fort Bliss, you'd be looking at about a 20 to 35 minute commute. This area is really, really pretty. However, it is a little bit more expensive. The land values in this area are higher, so therefore the cost of the housing is higher. But based on the budget that we spoke about, there are really some beautiful options. Let me show you. And on to the west side. So again, Fort Bliss here, Northeast behind it. The west side is going to be just over the mountains here. So 2 different ways that you could get to base from the west side, which would be taking 375 through the mountain to Fort Bliss. or taking 54 to I-10, that'll also take you west. So all of this over here is going to be considered west side. And again, many options to choose from here. However, land value is a little bit higher, so it does tend to be a little bit more expensive. Here's an example that I pulled for you guys. This one is listed at 185, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 1769 square feet. And you can see nice house, a little bit more dated than the last one that I showed you. However, still a really nice option. You can see that this house is located right here in the corner, and Fort Bliss would be here, just so you can kind of get an idea of the proximity of what I'm talking about. So again, 2 different ways to get home, just depending on your preference. And the last area of town that I typically recommend to my military clients is the Far East Side. And living in the Far East Side, you can expect commute times from about 20 to 35 minutes, just depending on how far east you live. In this area, you can find plenty of resale as well as a lot of new construction. Most of the communities are new-ish, so even if you're looking at resale, the majority of the houses are still going to be fairly new. Let me show you a couple of options. And finally, on to the east side. So again, Fort Bliss right here, Far East Side would be right in this vicinity right here. The Far East Side is very popular because most of the communities in here are newer. So most of the houses that you're going to find, even if they're resale, they're going to be pretty new. And another reason is the close proximity to 375. So if you're going to be working out of Fort Bliss, it's the perfect commute. You take 375 to the spur to Fort Bliss. So fairly easy commute. Again, houses that even if they're resale, they're going to be, a little bit newer because they, the communities are just newer. So I have an example here that I can show you. This one is listed at 184,950, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2,094 square feet. Nice open concept home. Pretty updated. Pretty nice. So again, to our little map here, this home is located over here in the Far East Side. So again, 375 to the spur to Fort Bliss. So pretty nice area as well. And you really can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong with whether it be the Northeast, the Far East, or the West Side. It's really kind of just going to depend on you and your family's needs. So you can see that there are plenty of options when it comes to off-base housing here in El Paso. It really just depends on what works for your family, A 35-minute commute may not be long for you, just depending on where you've been. My husband and I live in the Horizon area, and he commutes to Fort Bliss every day, which is about 30 to 35 minutes, just depending on traffic. So all families are different. Everybody's needs are different. But within our city and within all the options, there is certainly something for everyone. I hope that you found this video very helpful as you begin your PCS process to Fort Bliss. If you will be relocating here, or if you just live in El Paso and want more information on our city, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, where all I do is talk about the Sun City. I also invite you to check out my 5 reasons why you should move to El Paso video, linked in the description box. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next Thursday.